So I'm just going to go for it.
Francisco's in the house.
He might have come and gone. I don't know. I said hi to him, but he I think he gets up early for work.
In the house.
He might have come and gone. I don't know. Good
We're
morning.
echoing.
I think he gets up early for work. Good morning, everybody. Well, let me turn that off. I'm echoing.
We're echoing.
Good morning, everybody. Rise or no, I did the right thing. Rise and shine. It's time for another cup of coffee. Oh, look at my new cup, Marcus.
Shies and Ryan. What's that say?
Your weapon, sir. It will kill.
Forged and Fire Cup.
I just got
Sweet.
I got something in the mail that said they were having a sale, so I flipped on, and this cup was marked down to actually just a few dollars. It was pretty cheap, and I couldn't resist getting it. And I kind of like that. Everybody would like to make a blade that says, and Doug say it will kill.
And Doug say it will kill. Yeah, they changed it from kill to keel.
Kill, yeah, over time.
And it like supposed to stand for like keep everyone alive or something. I don't know.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's they didn't like him saying kill all the time.
I'll have to look that up and read about that then. So how are you this morning?
Like you was in boot camp, like what makes the grass grow, ladies? Blood, blood, blood.
Well, that would be something they teach in the Marines. They want to, they want to change.
You're not allowed to die without permission.
That's right. That's right. You're not dying, Marine. I haven't told you to yet.
Oh my.
Well, how are you today?
I'm good. I rode about 6 hours yesterday. I'm a little sore today.
But, well, that'll do it if you're not used to it.
But that's good. Yeah, it's been a long winter, so
you'll work. Bird. I thought I heard a scream. I thought maybe somebody got a squirrel by the nape of the neck.
I probably overestimated the time I was in the saddle. I crossed the river a pile of times and taught Boudreaux Campbell how to cross the river. And
so did he hesitate at first, not want to go over?
Well, he just was crossing on the remnants of ice that we had.
Oh, okay. He might be smart.
He was jumping from little ice floe to little ice floe, and he came back one time and broke a big piece of ice, broke out from under him and settled down on the bottom. The water was only about a foot deep, and it settled down, and he just stood on it. And he was about a foot from the bank, and I'm like, just come on. But he turned around and found some more ice and got up on it and went around a different way. But he ended up swimming.
Even though he was already wet.
Yeah, he was soaked. He was wet clear to his ears.
A foot of water is pretty
about too much for him.
That's about over his head.
But he swims like a muskrat, so he'll be fine.
His tail go behind him and guide him.
He
like
just kind of like smooth and like, his head sticking out, and he's just them little old legs are just churning like crazy, I guess. But he didn't have any problem swimming.
Most dogs don't once they learn they can.
Yeah, my bird dog, Gigi, she's terrible, and Pip,
really?
My English pointer was worse. Oh, there's Carol.
Good morning, Carol. Drive safe. I'm sure that's what you're doing. Did I just get some kind of message?
Well, I did, but
maybe I heard yours go.
You heard mine go.
Mine had it. Mine for some reason is showing something on the 31st of March. What the heck is that?
Is that today? No,
that's why it's weird. It's Thursday. I don't know when that is. Did I tell you they scheduled my... Hey, Nicole, good morning. Thank you for doing the thumbs up. Hang around with us. Tell us about your squirrel adventures and any saber-tooth tigers any saber-tooth cats you've seen lately in your neighborhood. Oh, I got my appointment scheduled.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, a day or two ago. I meant to tell you, it's the 4th of February. So
it's the 4th of February.
Next Monday. No, April. Yeah, I told Brenda that yesterday too, and she looked at me and said 4th of February, and I said, yeah, the 4th of February. I said it won at 12:30, or I think it's anyway. She said 4th of February. You're sure about that?
That's a ways out.
I said I am sure about it. I just got off the phone with the lady, and she said 4th. She said, Tim, this is March. Okay, 4th of April. It's the 4th of April.
What's that blue and yellow flag behind you there?
That's new today. But in fact, I'm flying 2 new flags today.
I see that.
This is Ukraine.
Oh, that's Ukrainian flag.
That's the national flag. Yeah, they've got one that's got a trident on it, but I can't. This seems to be the flag. The trident one might be a military flag. I'm not sure. I noticed a lot of the soldiers that they've shown on TV have that have a blue and gold patch with a trident. So maybe that's got something to do with the military. But anyway, that's Ukrainian. This is the good old US of A. You may have seen it before.
Yeah, I recognize that one.
I've actually had. You know what? I've had that flag folded up and still in the package since the first Gulf War.
And you unfurled it.
I never had flown it. I forgot I had it. It was in a box somewhere packed away, and so I got it out. And Brenda ironed them for me. You might notice
they look nice.
A lack of most wrinkles. Anyway, I told Brenda I should put a fan back there and make them wave in the breeze.
Yeah.
But I thought, what the hell? I've been talking about it, so I'll put a flag. I'll get me a. Well, here's the thing about these flags. They're made somewhere in America, and then the horse jumped over 3 of them, and then it came back around, and I didn't know what it was going to do next. And then the bull charged, and
what? Sorry, I was talking to my wife.
Well, I started talking about the flags, and then I saw you were occupied, so I just changed it over to a horse ran through the barbed wire. And
you were jumping cattle through barbed wire, and
a horse,
and the horse fell with you in a gopher hole,
and all that stuff. I don't even know what I was selling now.
We was talking about them flags. And
I know.
Amanda ironed them for you.
She did iron them for me. Maybe that's why I was just.
They look nice and smooth.
And what else did I say about it? I don't know.
What do you do if you iron the American flag? Is that allowed?
Well, don't tell nobody.
You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to do nothing.
I don't think you do. Hang on. I forgot to close my door. Brenda, you awake? Okay. Say hello.
I heard her say no.
Oh, merciful heavens. I slept pretty good last night once I went to bed. I thought I went to bed a little early. Now that's a relative. Oh, I'm not. Let me come back on. That's a relative statement because I thought I went to bed before midnight, which is actually pretty good for me. But once I got in bed and laid down, Brenda come back there to put some of the ointment on my leg and try to work out some of that muscle because my leg gets so tight. It's just like a knot from my hip to my knee just about. And it's the weirdest thing. Anyway, she came in there to put ointment on my leg and she said, it's something about it being 1:30. And I said, no, it ain't. I just came in here. I said, we went to bed early, and I looked at the damn clock, and sure enough, it was 1:30. Good morning, Miss Brenda.
That's crazy talk.
It is. It's that's what happens. I'm gonna blame her. That's what happens from living with her for 44
Well,
years.
I go to bed early, but then I wake up every night about 2 o'clock, and then I'm up, awake, not up, but awake for
The rest
hours.
of the night.
Sometimes.
You could get online and talk to Garrett some nights. No, actually, you and him are almost the same time zone. Sometimes I wake up, and yes, I have had to wake up to go to the bathroom, and I usually my TV's running some movie or music or something, a fire burning or something, and I look and there he is on there. You don't know Garrett, but he's on there talking, and he does a late night every once in a while. He's in California, so it's not as late as it seems here. And I'll be at 3 o'clock in the morning. There he'll be on line, and I'll get on him. First thing I usually say is, "Go to bed, Garrett," and he's up. Not much different to me, considering I'm up till 1, pretty regular. And
Yeah.
what time do you go to bed? What's early
Me?
for you?
Oh, we're
Yeah.
usually in the rack by 9 or so. Sometimes 10, 9.
Are you old or something or what?
Mostly.
I should. I know I should, but I used to, but I don't know what it is.
I
Brenda,
think
I
I
blame
slept
Brenda.
pretty good last night. I was tired last night from riding, and
Well,
I
that's good.
rode every day this week, but I didn't ride as long as I did yesterday.
Well, there's a question right there. So was yesterday? Had you been even a little bit sore the rest of the week?
No,
Well,
no, but
maybe
I was only like riding for like an hour, and
I was going to say maybe it's
I
humid.
couldn't get across the river. I had the river kind of opened up, and I could get across one day, and then it froze back over, and or at least the shelf ice along the banks froze out further, and then I couldn't get up, couldn't cross. But
What
yesterday, heck,
do?
it was 65 degrees here yesterday, and it was wide open.
Well, it's actually colder here today than it was yesterday.
Well, we're
And
supposed to be in the 70s today,
well, I don't think we are. I think it's
which
supposed.
is which is a little bit crazy talk too, because I mean it's not even April yet, but I'll take it.
Tell you what, I'm about to truly. There's a female, well, a titmouse out there picking on my suet feeder. I think it is. Well, I don't know if it's female or not. I think it is, but. And then I got a goldfinch over here and a
Squirrel.
purple or a purple finch or whatever on the other side. I got to figure out which ones I've got. I may have both.
You probably have purple finches and house finches.
Oh, there's something new. Oh, I don't know what that is. Hang on a minute. I'm out.
Chachalaca.
I don't know where it went. Yeah, I probably do have both of them. I mean, I should, but I don't know where that one left. I didn't get a good look at it. I tell you what, the goldfinches are going to move further north when it warms up a little bit. They should be well fueled because they've eaten well the last few days here. I've never seen thistle feeder. I've never seen thistle seed feeders go down so fast as they are right now. In fact, Brenda came back here because she's usually got 10 or 15 waiting on hers out there. Hers is hanging in a little dogwood, which has no leaves on it right now, of course. And it's just full of goldfinches most mornings. And then there'll be 5 or 6 on the feeder. And they'll all be sitting there waiting. So she traded. Mine was a little longer. She said she needed it out front. I was I was used to short things, so I could take the squirrel's watching. He sees me. They've gotten a lot warier, but they know they can run off before I get to them. I ain't quick enough. I need a remote control. I need a little Gatling gun.
You just fire them up.
Yeah, with BB, just light them up out there.
So you never have had one of your marked squirrels come back in that you
Well,
could.
no, not that I can tell. I've hit several now, so I don't think they're all breaking. I think some of them are. The one I thought for sure splattered, or a couple that I thought I've hit good and solid and splattered. It was wet and damp and rainy, and it may have just washed off before it dried.
Probably did.
I've got some yellow ones. I fired at one yesterday, and I actually saw one. It kind of reminded me of deer hunting. I saw one duck the paintball the other day.
Jumped the string on you.
Jumped the string on me. They're getting smart about that. I don't know what make mine. That's a whole. I was just thinking there's a blade maker in Germany. I don't know if they're still in business or not. They used to have their logo on their blades used to be a squirrel sitting with his tail curled up behind his back. I guess I don't know. Do they have I don't know if they've got a same kind of gray squirrel as we do. I know they do now because England has them, but I'm pretty sure they got them from us.
They did, and they're all over the continent.
But
they've got several species of trees.
They do. They do, but they've got grays too now.
Yeah.
And
they've actually become quite the nuisance in most of those countries. So
as is typical of invasive species.
Yeah, I mean they share theirs with us, and we gave them some back.
Funny thing about that though, theirs all seem to kill our trees and stuff.
Yeah, especially if they come from Asia, they're hard on our woods. But they released American mink over there years ago, back when mink were still, when the fur market was still good, when people were still wearing mink, and they had their own European mink, but ours was bigger and badder, kind of like the badger. And they've pretty much taken over there.
I can't imagine that. I mean, that's crazy because
they're super abundant, and they're actually causing a decline in their native species pretty bad.
Because they're pretty ferocious, and
and their laws have become so restrictive. Even with those invasive, it's tough for people to do anything about it.
That's true. I wonder if they let you go squirrel hunting over there.
Well, I mean, most of those countries have some kind of seasons, but it's not like here.
No. Maps needs to get back on the stick and start buying more squirrel tails.
You just can't.
Or mink tails. In that case,
you can't just go. There's no public lands. You got to be related to the flipping king or something just to get in, and
that's always been. And it's been that way since feudal times.
Or pay huge amounts of money, and
Hey, sort of speaking of that, it made me think of an option. But have you ever seen these big bore air guns? They make muzzleloading size air rifles now, like 50 caliber.
Well, Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, true.
And killed deer with them.
Yeah, well, I think that's what a guy was doing with this one the other day. I can't remember the name of it. It's a pretty neat looking weapon. They're using well, it's not so different really. Lewis and Clark's had an air tank they pumped up.
Yeah, it had like a bladder.
Yeah, a lot of these are using compressed gas cylinders screwed on the end of the butt or whatever.
Right.
That are, like a propane tank size.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a hand torch. And some of them are actually making a fairly loud sound when they go off. But I saw a guy shooting one at, I guess it was 100 yards, maybe, breaking blocks with it. just demonstrating it. I can't, like I said, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a 50 caliber big bore air rifle. And I guess in some states now you can hunt with them.
Well, Lewis and Clark's was like 40 caliber.
Something like that, yeah.
There was two of them. I think one of them is still, well, one of them is at Carlisle in Pennsylvania, I think. And it's a buddy of Dad's recreated those.
Oh, did he?
Made some duplicates of those, and they're hard shooting, hard, and that was what, they started using that when they when they first ran into the Lakota people in kind of in South Dakota or maybe eastern Nebraska. And they were like, because they basically didn't make hardly any sound at all.
Right.
And they were killing deer at 100 yards with them and freaking those people out.
Right.
That had probably seen actual firearms, but not those air rifles.
Not that kind, yeah. It made no smoke and almost no noise in comparison, anyway. Yeah, I've read about theirs. I didn't know about that. I think your dad may be the first one that told me to go back and read more about it, because I'd read some stuff, but I hadn't read anything that talked about that. And good morning, Tina. Glad to see you. We've done no squirrel chasing, Tina, that needs to be counted yet.
No, I think we've been chasing them around already this morning.
Well, it's just been me and you, so, and Brenda, and she's
Nicole's in here, and
the
Carol's will be here in a minute.
Tina, you through dog wrangling for them? Have you been dog wrangling this morning? I should say it that way, probably. Oh, I'm gonna wait about 5 more minutes, and we'll start talking about something else. Let me get Carol a chance to move in. I'm Medicare Bear today because I'm going to officially turn 65 in the next few days. You still am. Yeah, well, I guess that is a never-ending project.
Never-ending duty.
Oh, speaking of that, I was looking through Craigslist one squirrel. Well, not really, this week, and I was looking at farm equipment, and I was looking for anvils and stuff. So what I was looking for.
Oh, I thought you was gonna buy me a tractor.
Well, not yet. I'm still looking. I can't. What did you want? A Kubota, or do you want something else?
I just need.
Hey, Cherie. Good morning. Are you working today? And if you are, I'm going to assume you're on break. I thought, Brenda was in here, or is in here. Now, she's not said anything in a little while. She may have. Well, yeah, Tina, we waited for you. We have to have an official counter. Anyway, they had there was quite a few puppies in there. And I saw Australian Shepherd puppies, which I've always kind of liked. And then I saw some, and I can't ever say this right until I get it out first, and then I can get it. Oh crap! They're big shepherds, big shepherd dogs. They use them a lot with sheep. Anatolian? No. Come on, Mark, help me out. You know what I'm talking about.
Anatolis.
Anatolis, I think.
Don't know.
Anatolian shepherds, maybe that is it. They're kind of like a Pyrenees. They're a big, big whitish dog
big old white dog
that they hunt. Help keeps coyotes and stuff out of your garden and your sheep and cow field and all that. And they had some crossed. Oh, that makes you sad. The puppies on. Oh, which one makes you sad? I've lost break.
Yeah.
Touchdown.
Why would you
Yeah,
sell dogs?
I do wonder some
Anatolian.
Anatolian. Yeah, that's it. It makes me sad that I can't remember how to say. I never get it right the first time anyway. And then they had some doodles on there. They had an Anatolian doodle mix. And I
Well,
thought,
you know what we used to call all them doodle dogs. They were all like 20 years ago. They were mutts.
that's true.
Everybody and their brother has come up with some cross with a flipping poodle and call it something.
True. That's
Drives
true.
me crazy. And they're all supposed to be hyperallergenic and all that.
Oh, well, yeah.
And we got two of them in the family, not here in this house, but we got two of them in the family, and they're
Doodle dog.
I don't know if they shed or not. They're labradoodles.
You have two labradoodles at your house?
No, not I said not in this house.
Oh,
But
not in this house.
in the family, we have
the
two
family.
of them.
Well, some people charge a lot of money for those things too.
Yeah, and it's like you can crossbreed any
Penis
couple of
sister.
dogs and make your own.
She
They're
said,
mutts with good. They're mutts with good PR. That's exactly right.
Brenda's aunt had one, which I might add, Brenda's aunt passed away last week. Actually, it's been a week ago now, but
Sorry to hear that.
yes, it was kind of sudden, I think. Well, sort of not. She had somebody over there does have now a doodle, and I think I don't think it's a labradoodle though. It might be a golden retriever doodle, whatever they call that, and a golden doodle, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a really neat dog. I mean,
they're good tempered dogs. But
Yeah.
they're still mutts.
Yeah, and they do bring their own problems to the table. Most bigger dogs do anyway. But when I wonder what you get with an Anatolian, because that's a pretty good sized dog.
My Labrador bred my big English pointer female one time, and she had a whole big old litter of pups. And
Your what did? Your which?
My Labrador, back when I was in eastern Wyoming, I had a great big English pointer female, and he bred her.
Oh.
And we had a bunch of pups, and I gave them away to everybody, and I kept one of them, and they were pretty good bird dogs, they would get their daddy was chocolate lab, and they kind of came out that color, and she was a big liver colored female.
Keep talking.
And those pups would get kind of blondie colored on the ends of their fur in the summertime. And they had a guy stop in at the bird farm over in eastern Wyoming, and he asked what kind of dogs those were. There were about 3 or 4 of them running around the bird farm. And my buddy said, well, those are golden mantled pointladors. And that guy was like, oh yeah, I've heard of those. And he just made it up just that second.
That's his orange. That's his orange bred dog. Don't you know about that?
And they were mutts. They were good dogs.
You might have really been on to something though. You and him could have probably worked up a good business of people passing through.
Yeah.
The ranch where they raise those is just right up the road. I know the guy personally. If you'd like, I can probably get you a deal on one. He has a waiting list. Kelly has a poodle. She has a real poodle, a big one, a standard. She got it when she was still doing trimming and grooming, and that's partly why she got the thing. She wanted to be able to practice on it. I just broke the nail. I hate when I break a nail.
Poor dog. And gets haircut all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, she still does. I mean, it's not like she quit doing it. She never did, but she didn't do what she was going to do. I think she was wanting to show him because that's a big deal, trimming poodles and showing them, and probably helps business. But anyway, but it's kind of a neat poodle because it's not a normal. To me, it's not a normal colored poodle. It's almost a brindle colored. So it's not white or black like most you see are. This one looks more like a hound in a way. It looks more like it's about the color of some pit bulls, except it's got curly hair.
Big old brindle colored grizzly bear.
Big old brindle colored. In this case, standard poodle. But yes, old colored grizzly
Like
bear.
Jerry Clower would say.
I'm sure you've heard the story about the kid with the kid with his dog and the grizzly bear.
Yeah, it's a Jerry Clower story.
Was that where that originally came from? Okay.
He's got a little feist dog that not only did he whoop that bear, he consumed him.
Hell yeah, I believe that. He was my dog.
He was trying to get Eugene Ledbetter to quit lying.
Okay, it was Eugene. Okay. I've heard it. I guess I have heard it both ways then.
Yeah, that was a Jerry Clower story.
Eugene thought he was a truck.
No, that was Clovis that thought he was a log truck.
Oh, it was close. See, it's been a long time since I've listened.
It's the Ardell, Burnell, Raynell, W.L. Linnell, Claude, Eugene, and Clovis. The whole Ledbetter clan.
I got to tell you another story. You ain't going to believe this one, brother. And I just sent it to Phil so he could see it because he had experience. She's bringing Tina the tank right round. Tina is wrangling hounds again. I can't talk this morning.
Off the tables and out of rooms that don't belong in. Yep.
Yeah, they'll do that too as soon as your back's turned. I got one that a cat that likes to get on the table when nobody's looking and just sit up there and knock stuff off till you pay attention to him.
So Tina, do you actually have hounds?
She does.
It's like the Bumpuses on the Christmas Story movie.
You got to not do that when I got a mouthful of coffee. I just about spit it all through my nose again.
And they come in and grab the turkey and run off with it.
I'll eat it with most of it anyway. Bumpuses! I think that's the real reason he got Ralphie that BB gun. It wasn't because he wanted to
keep the Bumpus dogs out of the kitchen.
The Bumpus dogs at bay.
Oh my!
Brenda showed me something last night, and evidently this is a true story, but it came off of the internet.
Big old coonhounds. Cool. You found a true story off the interweb?
Well, Brenda, my wife showed it to me. It was off something else actually, but it was on there. She says, now I don't know if this is true, but it could be because there are stranger things out there. But perhaps there's the Tinas in here, Sherry's in here. Ladies, this is slightly indelicate, but I'll be careful with my language. Have you ever heard of a poop knife?
Mm-mm.
Me either till last night.
I don't want to hear this either. You can't be telling stories and making you laugh that hard.
Hey Teddy, I'm okay. He thinks I'm dying. This guy swears that it was a true story. Hey John, you're just in time, buddy.
Poor John stepped in the middle of this, whatever it's going to be.
Well, apparently you can buy these things now. Imagine a butter knife.
No, I don't.
Wait a minute.
I don't like where you're going.
Imagine a butter knife that's covered in silicone, like a spatula, sort of, but it looks like a butter knife. Here, buddy. There you go. All right, bud, he's back. This guy swears this was true, but now somebody's trying to sell him. But this guy said he grew up in a house with the family, had 3 bathrooms. That's important. But apparently they were known for their solid bowel movements. Let's just say.
Stop it. just quit. Of course, Brenda found this story.
Of course she did. She's on the phone right now. That's why she's not talking about it. I'll guarantee you. So I just tried to call her. I've started it. I ain't not to finish it.
No, just stop.
I just sent it to my buddy Phil because he could have used it many times. Not for himself, mind you. For unruly company, let's say. This guy apparently went out. I'll skip over the details. This guy went to somebody else's house one time and had a problem, and so he asked the guy where his poop knife was, and he said, "What the hell are you talking about?" So the guy explained the story about his family.
And there you go.
And there you have it.
History was made from there.
History was made. 2 with a boom. Oh my God, John. Wait a minute. Have you heard that story, John? Or anybody else in here? I mean, I can send you the link.
This ain't a good squirrel.
No, it's not. It's not. You're right. Me collect myself here. I didn't even think that either. But when Brenda told me about it, I said, it's not a good squirrel. But after I saw it and she told me, I said, I should share that, but I don't know if I can. It is quite the tale. Oh. Okay, we'll move on. I won't pursue that. But apparently you can buy one now if you want one in your house. and this was the best part. I read the bottom of it, and it was talking about the one that's for sale, and it said, and it's dishwasher safe. Oh God. I'm a mess. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. What people can come up with. Okay. I thought Miss Carol might be back. Carol, thanks for the tip. You're welcome, Tina. I don't think she wants to hear it either, so I'm going to back off. But if anybody wants to see the link, I will share it. But then I think it's going to get flushed. Pardon the pun. Blue Jay on my fence now. We're going to talk about 2 things. Well, we're going to probably talk about 100, but we're going to talk about 2 to start the day off. And thanks to Mark, and I'll show you that in a minute.
Oh, buddy.
Which one you got there?
Oh, I got a half a dozen of them here.
Oh, okay.
But I've got Mr. Campbell.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Boudreaux. Hey, Boudreaux. Man, you're growing up. Good Lord.
He's a swimming dog now.
Yeah. Hey, Carol. There's Carol. She made it back. Safe and sound. You got her just in time, but you did miss the poop knife story. Oh. That's me.
We're talking about Jerry Clower, and now you're making noises like him. Whoa! Knock him out, John.
Knock him out, John. One of us got to have some relief. Okay. Now, I'm going to try this. I think I got this right today. But if you were here last week, we talked about fossils from the Great Tennessee Fossil Site and talked about a lot of different fossils. One we didn't quite get into were saber-tooth critters. And actually, I've been looking up on this, although I'm still not as versed in it as Mr. Zorns is. But thanks to Mark, I got this really cool book. Or my wife did. She got it for me. Oh, looky there. He's got one just like it. How about that? Is yours signed by the author?
Twice.
Oh, my goodness. I was going to say, if it's not, send it here and Brenda will take care of that for you. Because she swears mine's autographed. But this is I haven't got a chance to read the book. I've been flipping through it, and wow, what an interesting tale. I mean, I've always been a big cat fan, as in big cats, and some not as big cats, right, Teddy? And but this is, I've never seen this book, and it's or anything quite like it actually. And this was done. You're right, Mark. This guy wrote this book and illustrated this with a lot of really pertinent information. It's not just about cats in the woods. I mean, he talks about how they killed and used these canines, to do the lethal deed, but he goes into a lot of detail about how that worked. And I just saw a picture here. Here's an example of how they might have caught a horse. And not only does he show them doing it and how they would do it, which is much like how a lion might catch a zebra, but he goes into great detail on, muscular structure, what muscles they use to do these things. I thought I saw a picture of what muscles would be impacted, what they would go for when they went after prey, which muscles they would but it may have been more of their muscles. I'm still looking through it to figure that out. But it's really detailed. And I guess, is this mostly Smilodons, Mark? Again, I haven't read through it. I know there's more than one species.
No,
it's any toothed big cat.
No, and it's not even that.
It's not even that.
A lot of those critters in the book are critters that had the same kind of structure. I mean, it goes clear back to like Gorgonopsids, which were like ancient mammalian-like reptiles.
Here's Barbarofelis.
Yeah, and Barbarofelis was not a felid. It was a pre-felid. Oh. And he's got, a bunch of Macroides and some of those critters that were...
Yeah.
They weren't cats. There were no cats yet. They were probably ancient ancestors.
Here's a
Macarotis or whatever.
Macarotis, yeah. Ethan or something. Not earthen, but so I can see now that difference in that head. I mean, that looks more like this picture, which is on page 90 in my book.
But like these critters right here, they're not even mammals.
Not mammals?
They're a critter.
Oh, yes, you're right.
They were like a pre-mammal.
Well, this is one I was looking at, and to me, this face from a side view
looks like a weasel.
Yeah, Mastella, that's what I was getting ready to say. I mean, that's it. So there's a lot of different species out there, and they're going to come to that. I'm going to start my slide presentation here to run through here. We'll go through it. Hey, Dave. Good morning, sir. Let me check everybody before I leave. You're almost always right. Tina. Yes, Tina is almost always right. And because she's always listening. Oh, let me back up here. I could have missed something. I think Tina is trying to tell Carol that it's probably a good thing. She missed something there. Okay, let me see if I can do this now. Now, again, folks, be aware that I screw this up on a regular basis. I just lost my help. He gave up. Poop knife was too much. Okay, enlarge your screens if you can. If you're on your phone, I apologize. You probably can't read everything. And we are going to talk about Sabertooth cats, but we're also going to talk about one of our favorite topics, squirrels. And they actually found skeletal remains of saber-toothed squirrels. And again, I encourage everybody to support Ukraine and just think about all those kids and orphans that are.
Oh,
that didn't sound good. At least it has a chance of meaning something else.
dog bowls.
Oh, dog bowls. That could mean they're just hungry. And I thought I'd throw this in there just for grins. I mean, can you imagine what we'd do if squirrels were that big? I'd be in trouble.
I don't know if they were ever that big.
No, I don't think so either. That one's got to reach about 40 feet. It's about 35 tall. And what did that do?
I don't know.
It went back. How did I do that? Anyway, that was just a kind of a joke there. I just thought I'd add that in because it sounded like a hound, Tina said. No, these are about real squirrels, Tina.
The bowl going.
Oh, the bowl going. No, that was hounds. That's what that was. I thought these were neat because these are some modern squirrels. Now that first picture there was not that one, but this one. Those saber-toothed cats are an artist rendition of what some might have looked like. I don't know how close that is. I've got a skeletal remains of one here in a second. But these guys are kind of neat. I love fox squirrels. And this one, what I call this is a black face, but it's got a white nose, so it's kind of a cross. We get them around here that are either mostly black or mostly white. We can have them both ways around here.
Red. That looks like one of those Delmarva Peninsula fox squirrels.
Could be. What
in the world is that thing on the?
That is a giant India fox squirrel. Believe it or not, this is a European Asia, Southern Asia. Look at the colors on that thing.
Have they colored it, or is that natural?
No, that's natural.
Oh, that's wild.
That'd be an interesting pelt, wouldn't it?
looks like it was crossed with a macaw or something.
It does. Isn't that interesting that a squirrel would be that coloration? I mean, I don't know what I don't know if the females are the same or if this is a sexual color more thing or if they all look that way. I don't know. I've never seen those before. But in looking around for different kinds of pictures of squirrels, I found that. I thought, well, that's cool. And here we got our basic Eastern. This guy on the left is not one of mine, but could be one of mine, judging by his girth and the fact that he looks well fed. And they'd stand up and look at me like that a lot. Where I come from, that's almost what we would call a crap-eating grin. We call it something else, but I'll refrain. And
that's what the old people there at home called cat squirrels. We had fox squirrels and cat squirrels.
Yeah, Tina, you guys do have black. Yeah, they are grays. We don't have the black ones down here, though. That's what's weird. Every once in a while, you might see one down there that's got some black markings, but we don't have the black ones. And this gray and a black morph is not as dark as they get. I mean, the ones I've seen, and I've got pictures. I don't think I put them in here, but some of them are really cold black. They're just, I think they're cool. Well, I never saw those growing up down south. So when I saw them up in Michigan the first time, I thought they were just cool as they could be. You guys didn't have them in Ohio, did you, Mark?
No,
At least not southern Ohio, anyway.
no, they're not. They might be up in the northern part of the state, up around Toledo or somewhere like that. But they're, I know there's a population of them just north of Toledo on the Michigan side. But
And of course, we've got flying squirrels here, and I think this is correct. I could be wrong. This is how they were marked, but you've got your basic southern flying squirrel. These are the kind I used to catch around here. We do have northern flying squirrels down into the mountaintops and ridges of Tennessee, but they're getting very rare. Uh, we we used to kind of keep an eye out for them when I was doing biological surveys and things, or at least computer searches and that sort of thing when we would be doing EA type documents for environmental studies and whatnot. That's one of the things you could look for. And if you had the habitat and if there'd ever been one there, it might actually require doing some field work on that if somebody wanted to do a big enough project. But if this is correct, you can see a slight difference in the black. I think Southerns are are they bigger or smaller? Do you
they're
remember?
smaller.
Yeah. And, but they're neat.
Their eyes are bigger and but they're smaller.
Okay. That's what I thought.
And one of the cool things about flying squirrels, both species, is that of all the rodents in the world, they're one of the most carnivorous of all of them. They eat a lot of critters compared to most squirrels eating, primarily vegetables of some form, nuts, whatever. And flying squirrels eat a lot of insects and young birds, and they're quite carnivorous.
They're quite cool. I know that.
And they bite. They can bite. I have a nice scar on my middle finger.
Most of these.
Where my dad coaxed me into grabbing one day.
I've noticed something about your life. You have people trying to get you to grab things with teeth a lot. Right.
And you grab a hold of them, and they'll grab you right back.
They are, Carol. They're so cool, though. I mean, they're such a neat little animal, and that skin. Yeah, if you know how they fly, I don't know if I posted a picture. I think I did, but let me see if I did. This is a drawing of an older squirrel, but you see how they they don't really fly, they glide. And if you've ever seen one in flight, or a sugar glider or whatever, similar species, or I think they're from Australia or somewhere. Anyway, they spread all that skin out and they glide down like a kite. And so that skin is real loose when they're just doing normal stuff. And if you get a hold of them, you really ain't got a hold of them. And they will turn around. I swear to you, they can turn completely around in their skin. I mean, I'm almost surprised their legs don't stick out through their back or something, because you can feel them moving. If you don't really have a good hold on them, they can flat turn inside out and just bite you every which way but Sunday. They're really hard to hold and not get bit unless it's cold, near froze to death. And I used to capture them in my traps. I used to set little catch alive type traps to monitor a deer mouse species down here, and I did it in the winter, and every once in a while I had a patch of woods, and I would catch flying squirrels in there every year, at least one or two. Usually about every time I ran my traps at a certain point, but and I used to just let them go if they weren't dead. That was the really sad part. they would freeze to death inside my traps if it got really cold because I didn't have enough insulation in there for that animal. And we put cotton balls in there for the deer mice because they could tear it up and get inside of it. They can make like a cocoon out of it, just fluff it up, and it's pretty amazing what they could do with a little cotton. But the squirrels couldn't do that, so if it got too cold, they could freeze. I'm not even sure why they were in there. Well, no, they probably ate peanut butter. We usually baited with peanut butter and oatmeal. It's a real good mouse catcher, by the way, if you haven't ever tried it. And so I'd catch a few of them, and said usually at least one a year died because they got too cold. But I'd just turn them loose most of the time. Then I decided I was going to start tagging them because I was getting so many. 1 year anyway, so I got some really good leather gloves, and I actually managed to get one captured that I could hold, and he was biting the crap out of me. Unfortunately, I had thick enough gloves he couldn't get through, but he was still biting. And I put a tag in his ear, but I don't remember if I ever caught him again or not. It's been so long ago now. But anyway, they're neat. They're such neat critters. And these are just more fox squirrel pictures, a black one and one with more white. But I couldn't find a good white face picture because I've seen them that were almost the opposite of this one, that were almost all white with a black nose and tips of their ears. And what makes these guys really unique is they're about the size of a normal house cat, not Teddy size. That'd be scary, but they get big, and they really don't like trees. I mean, they get in trees. One of the funniest things I ever saw in the wild was a big fox squirrel. We were hunting fox squirrels one time, Phil and I were. We had two that were in the area, and we were putting a sneak on them, and one of them jumped and ran up a tree. He ran up a tree, which like I said, they don't really like to do. They don't fly and jump around in trees like gray squirrels, but they will get in one and hide. But he ran up in there and got in one and tried to get out on a limb or something. And when he did, he missed and fell. He hit the ground with a big old oof. And all I could do was laugh. I couldn't even take a shot because it was just so hilarious. He kind of laid there for a minute, looked around like, did anybody see that? And I was just cackling. I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. That's what he gets for being up in the tree. And here's the Sabertooth I was talking about. If you look at that upper left drawing, it's skeletal, the actual fossil record there, and you look where that red circle is, you can actually see the canines right there. And over here you can see them also in this other picture of what would be possibly this squirrel in flight. I don't know if that's positive, but this is what they think they might look like, or some of them. So there were saber-tooths, so lots of things, which is why I brought these in here. One, we have to talk about squirrels once in a while because that's what we do. And two, because we're going to talk about saber-tooths, among other things. But big cats. I don't know, a normal house cat size squirrel sounds scary enough. The first time I ever actually found one up a tree that I was by myself in a patch of woods. I thought it was a cat up the tree. I really did. I thought, wow, look at that big old gray cat, and man, he's way up there because it was in a tree. And they will climb trees and they'll eat nuts and stuff, but they don't jump. And the aerobatics that a gray squirrel can do, fox squirrels generally can't do that. They just, like I said, they fall out. They're too big and heavy for one thing. And they just don't tend to be so agile. But anyway, that moves us on to the next page. Well, wait a minute, I saw something else. Oh, Dave's got something to say here. Dave said, Corey from Corey Meets World fed a squirrel at Animal Kingdom on Thursday. Oh, did he? Well, they've got a lot of critters there that will eat. Dave Cantrell, doesn't he know you're not supposed to feed them wildlife? Of course, I feed them here at home. People do that, and then they complain if they eat their garden. So, you got to play that off, decide which you want. We had a guy that had backed up on our property, was trying to get us to block off a section so he could feed wildlife. He didn't want people down there hunting ducks on the river, so he wanted to block it off so he could feed the ducks and the animals. Well, that didn't float. They weren't just his wildlife. Anyway, where was I at here? Squirrel. Sabertooth cats, or some facsimile thereof. So I brought this along as some examples, and as Mark said, some of these critters aren't true cats. I don't know, were these the ones you were talking about a minute ago?
No.
Okay. But anyway, I mean, they're just so neat looking. They're different. The different, I guess, species. I guess you'd say that. That's how they're split. But some of them are centuries apart, I guess, or maybe even eons apart, or well, no, not eons.
Millions of years.
Yeah. Okay. There.
Yeah. Long time between them.
I like that big Smilodon fatalis over there. That's a big guy. That's a mean looking cat there. Look at the shoulders on that dude.
So who did that painting?
I'm not sure.
It's not Antone.
No, it's not.
Because his look more lifelike than that one.
It didn't say. Well, actually, it may say. It may be Roman.
So that shows you the difference between, I was talking about those dirt tooth cats, which is that Smilodon, and then that Homoetherium, which was a scimitar toothed cat.
I guess the tooth shape and size is one difference.
Different. Yeah, I mean, Smilodons were sharp on both edges, and the scimitars were only on one. They had a rounded front on the front.
Just keep up with them, Tina. You're doing a good job. You know I can't talk about it. We're going to chase squirrels. It doesn't matter what we do. This cat, and again, I don't know who did this drawing, but this cat looks a little more lion-like today in the face, but it still has kind of a long, from nose to the crown of its skull there is pretty long. Fairly long. Oops, that wasn't right. That's not all I put in there, is it?
I don't know.
I didn't get entirely done with this, but I thought I had more pictures than that. Oh, well, let's me doing about face here. I know I've got some more pictures. Let me unshare the screen here for a minute, and then I'll figure this out. Sometimes I hate this computer. I mean, I'll pull this up while we're talking. Speaking of cats, I got my what are you? Negro Felidae house catus, domesticatus, or whatever. The old man of the house. Let's see here. I'm just going to open this other. But saber-tooth cats are pretty fascinating. I guess they existed till 10,000 years ago or 12,000. I'm not sure, Mark. What was you got a
when all the megafauna went extinct at the end of the Ice Age or last glacial maximum, however they put that, but they fed on big creatures and they all disappeared, and so did their predators and short-faced bears and smilodons,
and they did coexist with humans humanoids
for a while. Yeah. And
or whatever.
well, and actually, you know, in the old world for a long time, most of our history, we had big cats, big scary cats running around out there.
I've got some more pictures here. I think I can share now.
And they found fossil humans, you know, in Africa and Asia that certainly were prey items for big cats.
Yeah, there was a picture in Anton's book there about, kind of shows, you know, one of the ways they kill with those big teeth, and it shows them, you know, a prey animal with two big holes right here in her head. And big cats still kill that way.
Well, and these and the you know the Smilodon, the last couple that we had over here, because of their tooth structure, their teeth were very long and sharp, but pretty fragile.
Yeah.
And they primarily caught an animal from underneath and didn't catch bone. So they didn't catch bone. They weren't biting spines and skulls.
They were biting.
They were biting throats.
Yeah, soft tissue. They were trying to.
Like that cat on the left there. That's.
Yeah. All right, where'd my. I don't want to show you everything I've got, but there's a decent Smilodon type picture, but you can see those big old toothers there. And one description of the word Smilodon I found yesterday was that it was a cat with two double-edged daggers in its mouth, basically, if you wrote a quick interpretation. Good morning, Don. Howdy. Good to see you. You missed the poop knife story, by the way. I recommend going back and hearing it. I didn't get to tell it, but might spark your interest. You never know. Okay, that wasn't where I wanted to go. All right, there's probably going to be a few squirrels literally mixed in here, but we'll bypass them and try to hit the saber-tooths. Also, in looking through these, man, what a set of teeth. Hello? That's a Siberian flying squirrel. I meant to show that one too a while ago. Look at how white that guy is. He looks like he's built for cold weather to me. He's fluffed up like a bird almost. But look at those big old eyes. That's because reason you don't see them much, Tina, or whoever said that's because they're up in they're not very nocturnal. And I'm almost surprised you don't have them in your house. A lot of people find that they tend to get up in the attics. We have that. People have that around here. There's a nice picture with all that loose skin I was talking about, all filled out. Well, I'll go on through these. There you go. Did you know Tennessee's home with two species of flying squirrel, one of which is endangered, and that's the northern. I don't think I've ever seen a northern, but honestly, I'm not sure now. I might have, but mostly southerns, and that they're pretty rare here now. There's a nice bushy tail. Okay, what's going on? I lost my pointer. Tell you what, we may have to fire the guy running the IT guy or the tech guy, because I'm telling you, he is not doing his best job. His best work is not happening right now. I've got a whole bunch more pictures of this is actually my favorite Smilodon right here. A little known subspecies. Actually, this one still exists, but only in Middle Tennessee. Scientifically, he's genus Smilodon ganache or Nash, and he's pretty educated. He's well read. and I can't make it go any further. I got
What's that for?
Nashville Predators.
Or is that hockey?
Hockey, yes, hockey. And I do realize I can be, and this cat's adapted. They rappel from trees to down on top of their game. They don't just chasing cats. They actually can come down out of the trees and off cliff faces and get their prey. See, did you catch any of that? You're muted. And I said they can adapted. They can rappel. And most cats can't do that. Most big cats, anyway. Let's see here. I was going to back up and try to find the ones I haven't shown. But in reading about these guys, I also learned there was a lot of other critters, I guess, that were. This was a neat guy. But he's really not a flying squirrel. He's just what I think I'd call that a red jumping squirrel. They all do that. They fly through the air like that, but they can't glide like a flying squirrel. I know I got some more Smilodon pics. I just got to find them. Or not find them. I just didn't, evidently I didn't save them or something because they didn't glue into my presentation. This is what you see if you get one in your house and you wake up and flick the lights on in the middle of the night. I've had that experience, but not in the house, outside. Turn a light on and they're just like that coming at you. That's probably their security guy. Now, come on, everybody needs to see this. I mean, how cute is that? That's a whole nest of little guys. Oh, my coffee got cold. It turned off on me. That's a nest full of just flying squirrel love right there. Carol, can you see those guys? Hey, Mike. Mike's back. Brad's appropriate. Yes, it is appropriate. Don. I think Dallas is still in the playoffs too, I believe, aren't they? It's been kind of back and forth there at the bottom for a while now. Colorado Denver team has just run off and left everybody. I have a friend that likes squirrels until I said to her not that squirrels are rats, but good PR. I just don't understand. Rats aren't bad. Tree rats. We used to call them tree rats. Some people call them city rats or city park rats. I've heard them called several things. I think when European, well, no, that's probably not true. I thought when human beings, when Europeans came over here, they thought of them more as rats than they did edible. Yeah, that's a cuteness overload. I think I've got another picture of maybe fox squirrel nest. Oh, that's them. Okay, let me see here. All right, I'm going to have to back out and go to where I can see them again. Here's another good picture of, showing how they glide. See how much skin they've got? And that's all, attached tissue, whatever, but it's loose. I mean, that body of that squirrel can just wiggle around in there like you wouldn't believe. There's that picture. Where's that other picture? Well, maybe I don't have any more that you haven't seen. Like I said, I got started late putting these together and I didn't get finished, and I apologize for that. This is a neat one. This is supposed to be one out of Florida. I've never seen one that black either. That's with that kind of face. It looks like a fox squirrel to me. I'm not sure it was ID'd, but they did say it was out of Florida.
That's a fox squirrel.
But man, isn't that
We're
nice?
def-
Maybe it's burned. That pine tree behind it looks like it's
You
been
don't
burned.
have any. You don't have any regular colored fox squirrels
Well, what would you
because
call a
most
regular
of them
fox?
are orange,
Well, kind of like. Well, let's see if I do. I haven't shown it.
like bright orange. They're the black color
That
phases.
color right in there, right?
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah, but that's not a fox squirrel.
No, I know this. They were calling this a Douglas squirrel from out
That's
west.
a red squirrel there,
Yeah.
or a
Well, yeah.
Tamasaurus.
Um. Well, I guess I don't have any of that color. This is probably the closest one I got, but he's just right here. It's just on his belly.
Yeah, but they'll be that most of their
I've seen them
body.
all over them, but around here they're not. They're getting away from that somewhat, and they are looking more like that one. The face is what I see the most color. Maybe that's because I focus on that once I see them, trying to check out the markings. But we, well, that's a squirrel story, not a smilodon story. But well, that may be all I've got for today. Let me shut that down for right now, and shut it down over here too, so I can see my screen again. Oh, that's not it. There you are. Well, I don't have any chippies there in Texas. Oh, well, I didn't put chipmunks and ground squirrels in there, and I did have pictures, so I might have them in a different place. But the chipmunk, we have chipmunks running around all over the place here. We've got them in our yard now, and they run across the wall, the top of that wall out there where my feeders are. What's fun is when they start jumping, because they don't. They're not tree squirrels. They don't jump and do the acrobatics that gray squirrels do, but they'll run across that wall and they'll get up some speed and then they'll jump up on the bird feeder. And they kind of look like they're diving, but they're diving up instead of down because they just sort of point their body. But they get up there, they can jump probably 2, maybe 3 feet if they really get going. And they'll land on a bird feeder and they'll just sit there and feed until they get those cheeks all packed full of food, and then they'll jump down and run off and go back to their hole somewhere and take it with them. And they'll eat. I've fed chipmunks out. It doesn't take long to get chipmunks eating right out of your hand usually. But another word of warning: just because they eat out of your hand does not mean they will not bite the hand that feeds them. I've got scars on my fingers to prove that. They will bite you. Sometimes they will let you catch them, but they do not stay that way very long. They get unhandled real quick. Uncaught real quick. Do you remember the chipmunks out in New Mexico that wanted to eat? They wanted our Cheez-Its. We had little cheese crackers. Some of you know what Cheez-Its are. Maybe all of you know what Cheez-Its are, but they loved those things, which I'm sure weren't good for them. But we did feed them. I know Jennifer Kelly wasn't born yet, but I know Jennifer fed them. She loved that. When I was a scout, and if John's still in here, he may remember this. John, you remember what they called them at Philmont? They called them micro bears, and they were just about as voracious as the bears going after your grub. They did a pretty good job. Did I happen to mention that I got a new birthday present? Really proud of this book. My wife got me this.
Yes, she did.
That's what all I know is that's what she told me.
Well, that one on the front cover there, that's my favorite Sabertooth. That's a Meganterion. That's not a Smilodon.
Well, it does have a little bit longer.
That's a different cat.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about that artist is that everything his are like accurate, right down to musculature and where the nerves went through whatever part of the skull, etc. He's
definitely studied as
he's a you don't get an artist like that come along very often.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And I haven't read the whole. I've looked through the book now. Here's a couple. Here's an example of size difference between some of these cats, or at least similar cats that are or similar creatures that were saber-toothed. And
Yeah,
Pleistocene,
the big one was from the Pleistocene, and the little one was from like probably the
Eocene, Eocene, yeah,
which was millions of years, 50 million years apart,
amazing.
roughly.
I wish it gave for this one. I wish it gave a scale reference on length of body, and just to compare that one on the bottom doesn't that's the one that's got a head that looks almost like a weasel to me.
So those like was that Fatalis or Populator, the big Smilodon that they had in there,
Populator.
which was the biggest one.
What?
It was like the size of an inland grizzly at like 500 pounds,
Ooh wee.
and 90 centimeters at the shoulder. I think they were given, which is like, what is that? 40 plus,
Centimeters.
40 plus inches
40
probably.
plus inches. Yeah, 2.5 centimeters per inch. So
Yeah, so 30, whatever. It was a tall cat, very powerful. It killed elephants, at least calves and things, and lots of bison. And
I kind of like this picture too because it is again very realistic. It's it's the cat, and look at the blood on the teeth and the nose and the face. You can tell it's been it's been head first into the carcass or something.
well, and he talks about
Fatality.
that specifically, that which is the one we had here in North America, the one they found out at, if you go to La Brea, that's one of the most common fossils out there. And they they figured they hunted in some kind of a social group,
Kind of
and
like pride.
they got bloodier than other cats because of how they killed. They bit the throat out. They didn't grab it by the back of the head.
Yeah.
And then if you've ever seen lions feeding on Mutual Omaha or whatever, they get pretty nasty too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're not clean as you or they had.
I,
And
I suspect it would be really cool. That's what I always thought about. If I had a Wayback Machine, I'd like to go to La Brea when it was going in a shark cage.
yeah, that might be dangerous even then. Have you, not that it's accurate or anything, but have you seen there's a show, they ran a show I guess it was last fall, called La Brea. NBC was doing it, if you get any NBC channels. And the concept was a sinkhole opens up and people fall through it. And a lot of them survived the impact or the fall, and they're actually in a sort of a parallel time period that's the same. They're at the same place. They're at La Brea in California where the first one opens up. And they're in that area, same area that the La Brea tar pits happened far before civilization, of course. And they start meeting up with saber-toothed cats and critters that they're not accustomed to seeing. It's actually a pretty interesting show, but I think they're probably gonna, if it continues, it may not even continue, but they we were watching it just to see how it would go. At first, I thought, that sounds pretty hokey, and it is probably pretty hokey. Well, it is pretty hokey, but
Sounds like the land of the lost.
kind of, but different. No dinosaurs, and no what was those other things they were always hiding from?
Slee stacks.
Police bags. Yeah. This is one of the things that makes this guy, I don't know if I can, pretty fascinating, is the detail he goes here. I mean, he's got a fully clothed cat or animal at the bottom, then muscular structure, and then just the skeletal structure, and how all that fits together. That's I think that's makes him unique, or helps make him unique, because to me that shows he has really studied the specimens. And here's a picture of Xenosmilus. Does that sound right? I'm probably not saying that right.
Probably with an X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, there was a gazillion of them. There was lots of
I
different.
didn't realize there were as many as there are.
And then again, if you go back to those critters I showed, the Gorgonopsids, they were like in the Triassic. They were like way back, but they weren't mammals. They were kind of pre-mammal reptiles.
Yeah, I think he's got. Does he have some pictures of that in here? Maybe I saw those online last night.
The Gorgonopsids.
Well, here's some right here.
They were the biggest predator on the planet at that
I don't know
time.
if you can see those guys or not. It may not focus, but those guys look like a cross between a dinosaur and a big cat.
And they existed before dinosaurs, but it just goes to show you that tooth structure that that saber-toothed cats had ultimately, that's been a repeated motif, if you will, throughout history, that something has big old gnarly teeth like that. We don't have any today, but you probably thank God.
Well, yeah, but big cats still do have very big canines. I mean,
but they're not saber-toothed.
Oh no, nothing like that. But they are still pretty big. But that's obviously show it again, but make yourself big, man. Okay, let me try that, Tina. Let me see if I can do this.
Yeah, make yourself great big.
Let me do it this way for a minute. All right. Hang on a minute. Let me find. Now I got to find the picture again because I let it close. Well, I'll show you another one while I'm at these guys. Different species too with kittens. And our kittens are always adorable, even if they're saber-tooth. Well, where'd that go? You know what, Tina? Now I'm not sure which one I was showing. I got. Here's an interesting guy, Mark. I hope you can see this. Yep, this way. Yeah, I know it's not focusing good either. Interesting chin structure. Okay, well, when I find that one, I'll come back to it in a moment. Because for some reason, I don't see it. Now I can't remember what I was showing. Was it the one with 3? Oh, was it this one?
You were looking at that one.
Yeah, but was that the last? I thought I'd looked at one just after that. I can still hear you. That's good. I assume you can still hear me.
Yeah.
They had some big claws too.
Well, I mean, if you're like a 500-pound cat, you're going to have big old claws.
That's a good point. Like those big old gigantous inland grizzlies or plains grizzlies or whatever they were that
had big old claws.
Gigantic claws, yeah. Good to dig. Here's a good picture of the. This is a.
Eusmilus.
Eusmilus sicarius.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. Look at those fangs. Look at the fangs on that dude.
And then he had those bone structures on his chin, kind of.
Yeah.
When his mouth was closed, they kind of protect the tooth.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I had a picture of that a minute ago too. And I was trying to show. Maybe that's what I was showing.
And then they've got there's even a. I think there's a marsupial.
Here's an example of that bone structure.
And what's that species?
Thaliosmilus atrox.
So if you go earlier, I think there's actually a marsupial saber-tooth from Australia or wherever.
Where all saber-tooths are from. I mean, the home of not all, but many. Here's one of those Gorgon species. A little bit better picture, probably.
Yeah. So that was before the dinosaurs.
I didn't realize that. So what, were these guys pretty big, or they
yeah, they were a big
40
predator.
centimeters? I didn't realize that they were before. And are they considered reptilian or dinosaur, or what were they?
They're a synapsid reptile, which means they're the line that mammals came from. A little different. I mean, there were a couple of different lineages, and they figured that's where mammals came from, that line ultimately. But yeah, that on page 86, there's a critter called Thylacosmilus atrox. That's the one, and that was they found it in Argentina, and it was a marsupial.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a cat. Looks like a cat.
Looks like a cat, but it ain't a cat.
Wasn't a cat. So yeah, I highly recommend the book to anybody that's interested in. You're going to learn a lot more than about cats in that book.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I got.
Tina's like, it looks like Dennis O'Leary's character in Ice Age. He was a Smilodon fatalis.
Yep. And that squirrel Scrat was one of them squirrels.
one of those saber-toothed squirrels. Yep.
You think it'd make a nice pet, Mike?
Yeah, you bet.
Until it decided to eat you. You've never seen a chipmunk in Texas? I don't know.
You have them, several species, least chipmunks, and I'm trying to think what we have about 6 of them up here, different species of chipmunks, and where you're at, Tim, that you just have eastern chipmunks mostly.
Yeah.
And we have several species but you got to have them in your hand or put them in a blender to figure out what they are.
Yeah, they're very similar.
And yeah, I mean, Texas definitely has chipmunks. It just, you got to be in the right parts of Texas.
Let me put you back in here, and people will realize that you're actually talking.
They couldn't hear me.
Yeah, they can officially retired. I like that, Mud.
Yeah,
I'm assuming they could hear you. They just couldn't see you.
That's
you got to mark before I put him back in.
Or I just been talking to myself.
I watched Land of the Lost too. It seems like my kids watched that some when they were growing up too, but I watched it enough that I remember the characters and the Sleazaks or whatever they were called.
And Will and Holly, and I could probably still sing the song, but I'm not going to.
Thanks. If I could train our cat to use the litter box, I could train that cat not to eat me. Well, there's been some local people who had cats around here thought that too, like screwed up. I don't know what it is. I didn't used to think this happened so much in Tennessee. In fact, I thought this happened more in Ohio. But I think some of it starts in Ohio or at least used to, because of their lax laws about animal sales and stuff. But What was that big flea market, Zanesville or
No, right there at Lucasville, just south of where my folks live. You could buy a lion or a tiger cub there.
It's amazing.
Which is just ridiculous. Absolutely insane.
Absolutely ridiculous. Well, they've got Tiger Haven.
And that's where you get people like, the Tiger King guy and that gal that took over for him.
Please tell me you didn't watch the Tiger King.
Not one episode.
Thank you.
But I heard about it.
It too. I heard about it a lot.
And the guy that I watched, the rodeo guy, they did a spoof of it. But he was the Bull King, not the Tiger King.
Dale Brisby?
Yeah. It's hilarious.
I bet that was funny. I don't have to look for
that. He's got all of his intern boys, they got hand-drawn tattoos all over them, and they're, anyway.
What a strange story that is/was. Then they were trying to kill each other, and I don't know what all that's.
Yeah, what's that gal's name? Carol Baskins.
Carol Baskins. There's a show on Peacock or somewhere now about.
Well, they're going to have a TV show about it now.
They are. They do. I think it's already.
I saw it advertised. It's crazy.
It's like promoting ignorance and that sort of thing. I struggle with people. I really do struggle with showing crap like that on TV because it really gives people the wrong impression of
the right thing to do.
The right thing to do, yeah.
Those critters belong where they belong.
Yeah, and that ain't your house. I mean, I'd love to have
they should be. Their population should be healthy in the place they belong, and
and then a lot of them
are. Unfortunately, they're in trouble in some places.
Yeah, I mean,
especially tigers,
and some of the leopard species, like snow leopards, I don't think they're doing so great either. And that's a beautiful cat if you've ever seen one. I mean, Sabertooths might not be around, but the descendants thereof of all those species are pretty amazing. And it is really a shame. The tigers are in real trouble. I saw some numbers not long ago about how many were still, they thought, left alive of certain species, and it's not good.
Yeah, they always would have been lower numbers than.
Oh, sure.
Than like a sandbar deer or something, Prey animals always far outnumber predators, but
that's basic ecology.
Their range has shrunk to it's primarily a habitat loss thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt that. Even though some still are, I doubt that killing of animals, harvesting or whatever you want to call it, hunting, or killing them because I'd say a lot of those species are killed today because they, to prevent predation on livestock and that sort of stuff.
Well, and the Chinese still trade heavily in all those parts.
They do. They still do. Bears, that's still a problem with bears.
It's a big deal with cats and rhinos, and
and until they stop that, I mean, it's going to continue until they're all gone. It's like Leopold. I think it was Leopold wrote the story about the last grizzly bear in California, and the guy that, and I don't remember his name, but the guy that had enough money to go out there and hunt that bear, and he actually shot it. They think he shot the last grizzly and called the golden bear, they used to call it, or something like that, in California. And, he got his picture taken with it, and I'm sure it's mounted on some wall somewhere out there today. But it was the last damn one. I mean, why? And that was a big deal. He wanted to be the one that shot the last one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find any pride, honor, or anything in that whatsoever.
Because there's not any.
No, there's not. And I mean, I used to hunt. I hadn't hunted in a few years, but I still would like to hunt. But it's just a whole different mindset these days. I think that's partly why I haven't hunted a lot in a few years, I had to deal with some of it's because of the public, and some of it's just because of people I think don't really respect the game anymore. They just it's all about TV viewerships or YouTube likes or something. I don't know. It's just turned into something. You and I've had that discussion many times, but commercial hunters and hunters that started out years ago as really good bow hunters and stuff, yet turned into poachers and the like just because they felt the need to stay ahead of the next guy that was coming along the pike and making a name for himself. It's just bad. It gets bad when it becomes that. It's not. I can't do it. I mean, it's just.
But the average guy is still.
No, the average guy's still not. I agree. But I do worry about the average guy who tries to be that way, or tries to be that guy, or thinks he is that guy when he goes out in the woods.
There's your squirrel, Tina.
Yeah, you can count
that one.
You can count that one as 2. I don't care.
As they said on Dances with Wolves, put that one in your book.
Yeah, put that one in your book.
Lieutenant.
Another good movie, and a squirrel too, for that matter.
It's a great movie.
We could start that squirrel path probably for a while. Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. It's not a movie review. Do what?
I said Shumani Tatanka Owachi.
Well, I know it had something to do with Buffalo.
No, that was his Dances with Wolves.
Oh, was that his name?
That was his name. That was his name. Quite the handle.
Yes. I like the woman that he got linked up with. What would they call her? She with a
hands with a fist.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Mike, I agree, and which is exactly why they wrote the story about him. And they probably even told who he was. It's ironic today that the motto, or maybe not the motto, but the state flag has that bear on it, or has a depicted bear of that nature, a California bear, but and yet it's it no longer exists. Hey, Dave, how are you this morning? Adventures by D. Welcome in. Aim for food of animals that are prevalent.
We have a fair few grizzlies left here. We could share some with them.
Grizzlies?
Yeah.
That what you said?
And they were grizzlies.
We'll take a few grizzlies to California then, because
they probably need some like coastal bears.
Probably.
They were more like brown bears in Alaska,
and I'm pretty sure they got plenty of black bears out there still.
Gazillions. They're really high population of black bears
and cats too. I guess they
don't allow any harvest for lions, so they're going like nuts.
Yeah, and they're
pretty. As a matter of fact, I guess if you live in California, you can't even go to a state that allows lion hunting, mountain lion, not African lion, mountain lions, which are a dime a dozen in the West, regardless of what people want to think. And you can't go to a state like Wyoming and kill a lion and take it. You can't even take it legally back to that state.
That's
and they have a lot of lions.
Yeah.
They do. People get knocked out of their tennis shoes and killed and eaten occasionally, and joggers are particularly vulnerable to big cats.
Well, that's what I was saying about the urban interface. That's the problem out there. One of the problems out there is they've encroached on so much habitat, and the lions are more prevalent now. Population has gone back up, or gone up maybe even more than it used to be in some places. Now they've got a problem. So now when they kill somebody, everybody gets all up in arms, but they wouldn't dare have a hunting season. which
Yeah, it's a
I'm not
different mindset.
saying you should go out and kill all the lions. So please don't think that's what I'm saying. And Mark isn't either. But I don't think.
I,
But you
I'm not. I
I
got
know,
him in my backyard.
I know you're not. Don't say that out loud though. Somebody's not supposed to know that. Too late.
Oh, I told her.
But okay. Mark had one out out by his house when it snowed. Fresh tracks. But that's probably not too unusual. And I was going to say something. Oh, that's the problem with human populations, and one problem, and that interaction, that interface is when you get enough people who don't understand that there's got to be some method of controlling those populations, because those very people who don't want you to do it are in their habitat, and their kids are the ones that get taken off the slide one night or one afternoon. And or the lady walks out to feed her cat and there's a lion sitting on the porch. I've seen that. They don't understand that there's no natural predator out there to change that, or no regulation on other animals that keep the food supply down to naturally regulate populations. So if you don't hunt them at all, then you don't have a way to prevent any of that. It causes an unfair dynamic for both species, humans and the predators. Again,
So
not saying
Mike's saying he's got a Canadian grizzly at the house.
What was that? Mike said what?
I said, Mike said he's got. Have you ever seen the big Canadian grizzly he's got in his house?
No, we have not. You have a big Canadian grizzly, Mike, in your house? Unless
I think he's referring to his wife.
oh, I see that. What I call my wife when she doesn't get her coffee first thing in the morning. Well, you better go take care of that, Mike. Because I would hate to read in the paper that man killed by housebound grizzly with no coffee. What did Tina say? I'm the same way. Well, my wife doesn't drink coffee, so maybe she doesn't get her morning Coke. I'm thinking she must have fell asleep because she's not said anything, and I know she ain't on the phone now. She don't have anybody like I do that could keep her on, that would want her to talk for that long. I can't remember her aunt's funeral. Is one coming up. I don't know if that's tomorrow. There was a powwow in Squirrel, but we're straying a little bit anyway. But there was a powwow here, not far from here today. If it had been another day, I would have gone up there. Today was just, I didn't know about it till Thursday afternoon, and I just wanted to go up there and see what kind of beads or.
Where are they holding that?
This one's up at not too far from Sevierville, but it's not in town. It's out in the country there off what's called Pumpkin Valley Road. It's on the north of the interstate over there. I'm not sure if it was like a park or where they were actually holding it. I mean, I saw it, but I can't name a place. And I don't know. I kind of like to have gone when I hadn't been to a powwow in a long time. We had one or two down around Nashville when I lived down there, and we went. Interesting, a lot of dancing and that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. And but you never know what else might be there, arts and craft wise. They may have a Cherokee guy napping flint around here. I would think that's a possibility. That's one reason I wanted to go and see if somebody might be there making Cherokee bows or something, or number 5 or blowguns or something. Just you never know.
Yeah.
And I would love to go see somebody. I need to go to We need to go to Cherokee sometime just to see if any of those guys are over there making bows and stuff. But I think the ones that are on the YouTube have the channels. I think they're all in Oklahoma, or some of them anyway. I don't know that Flitnapper guy that you were talking about on there. Is he?
Yeah, he lives up there at, like up around Tahlequah in Oklahoma.
So he's out there too.
Oklahoma.
So he's in the nation.
Yeah, yeah. But there's guys in North Carolina that are,
Yeah,
keeping all those skills alive too.
and that's a good thing.
That's a great thing.
That's another place I should go and video someday and talk about is Tecumseh's birthplace is not too far from here.
Who?
Not Tecumseh. Sequoia.
There you go.
Sorry, wrong Indian. Sorry, that's such a bad reference that it choked me up.
Who was the gentleman that created the Cherokee alphabet?
Sequoia.
Yeah,
sure did. And the only one I think only native. I was thinking that was the only, but at least the first known native language that was put on paper, so to speak.
Yep.
Alphabet. They have their own alphabet. And
he invented it.
He invented it. Yeah. He was smart, I guess, and that'd be one way to look at it. But he figured out that was one of the ways that white men could take advantage or do things that the Indians couldn't, the natives weren't able to do. So he created a written language so by God they could write things down and tell their side, or at least help interpret what was being said to them, which was probably pretty damn smart when you get right down to it, because Lord knows that grass that grows and water that flows changed a lot over the years when they couldn't read it. 6? No.
We might be up to 7 or 8 by now. Squirrels.
What's that, Tina? You watched the show about? What did I say or miss? Or is this something
about the written language?
Oh.
Although the Mayans had a written language.
Well, that was up here. Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. They had one, but it was more of a hieroglyphic or
yeah, but it's still a written language.
Well, that's true. That's true. But maybe that was North American then. I'm not sure. Most of those South American civilizations had some kind. Oh yeah, number 6. That's cool, Tina. I saw something. Maybe that's what I saw about Sequoia recently. I was thinking I watched it. Well, I mean, tell me if it was internet or if it was on TV, because I saw something too about it. And that's why made me think about it. For one thing, it's fresh in my mind. But most of those civilizations had some kind of a written language. I mean, if they hadn't of the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Incas, I mean, if they hadn't had something, we wouldn't know much about them today, really. Everything we would know about them would be whatever slanted history the Spaniards left us, which would be twisted in all kinds of ways.
Well, that whole Mayan, the Mayan culture just fascinates me, and they lasted long. Well, I mean, they still are around. But
well, yeah, technically,
when they were their empire, they were the pyramids they built were bigger than the pyramids in Egypt. The one structure is bigger than the Pyramid of Giza. It's enormous.
The biggest one over there.
Which is the biggest one there. And this one kind of dwarfs it. And
well, the mound builder civilizations that was in this part of the country was pretty damn big and sophisticated too. And I was just sitting there thinking, I bet they had some kind of language, but I'm not sure about that. But you'd almost think they would. And maybe they do, and I'm just not thinking of it at the moment. But they did a lot of the same things. It was one of my husband's old westerns. Oh, he watches them all the time. I can't remember what show it. He says it was Death Valley. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Had a deal about sequoia.
Maybe they just had a deal about written language. They just not having written language. Well, that's not the one I saw because I didn't see Death Valley Days recently. But yeah, I saw an interesting. I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to start a fight, nobody. So please bear that in mind. I'm qualifying it before I say it. But I caught just a clip, and I actually hit record when I did it because I wanted Brenda to see it. But I saw an old wagon train a clip out of an old wagon train the other day, and they were a bunch of the trail hands and the boss, the guy that was always the head of the cattle drive. I can't think of his name right at the moment.
John Wayne's buddy.
No, wasn't him. Well, it might have been, but it wasn't one of the usual guys. Well, anyway, he had him locked. They had him locked up because they thought they were spreading smallpox, and there was a doctor there, and he was trying to convince everybody to get vaccinated. He was trying to convince them that they had smallpox vaccine, which they did by then. But most of them didn't want to take the shot. And the trail boss guy said, well, you want to give me a shot of that stuff? And you don't even know if it works. And I thought, wow, that is so relative to today. I thought this was done 60 years ago. It was a 1960 show. And I thought,
Ward
man.
Bond. Tina got it. Ward Bond.
Ward Bond.
That was John Wayne's good buddy, and
what was his name in the show, Tina? Do you remember that? It's right on the tip of my tongue. They called him something all the time. Anyway, and the doctor said, well, you can't get it anyway, because he said, I think you're what they call immune. In his case, smallpox, you can. Seth Adams. Oh, she thought too. Okay. I thought that was an interesting show. I thought, well, how pertinent, how
apropos.
Yes, and on the nose that was for this day and age. I thought, wow, and that came out in 1960. So I don't know if they were trying to make a statement then. That would have been polio vaccination days. I'm thinking, and they were vaccinating for smallpox, but I think they'd been doing that for a while. Major, that's it.
Major Seth Adams, yep.
But anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. And I won't go any further with that. It's funny though, what goes around comes around, and
like a big circle.
Yeah, many things. It makes you wonder: did we not pay attention the first time around? And sometimes we do not. It is noon o'clock. When are your grandbabies supposed to be there?
Sometime this afternoon.
So they're not there yet.
No, but they're on their way, I think.
Yeah, Tina, I think we could say easily we've done 6. How far do they have to come? Are they Kimmer?
We actually did squirrels for a while.
We actually did squirrels. And I don't know if that should count or not, but we did chase some real squirrels.
That was intentional.
It was. That was on purpose. It was everything. I told somebody that I wanted to try to come up with a story for me and you to put together and and spread it, because if it's on here, it's real, and we would never lead anybody astray about a discovery at Gray, and I was going to name it Zornicus
whatever
Timbus or something, a saber-tooth squirrel that we actually that they dug up there, and and named it for us because we're always chasing squirrels. But I didn't get it put together in time to make up the tale. Not that we don't do pretty good on the cuff when we're doing something like that, but I didn't. So Brenda, I can't remember if she said you should or shouldn't do that. I can't remember. She's either a good or a bad influence. It just depends. She's the one that brought the whole
knife thing up.
She is. She sure is. I would never even have looked for such a thing or seen such a thing if it hadn't been for her. and I can't remember who she said sent it to her. Oh, speaking of that, and this is Squirrel. Did you get that thing I sent you about the Kennesaw Mountain Outdoor School?
Yeah, for the show to my wife.
Yeah, I thought she might find some of those interesting because that's a friend of ours actually that does that. And she started that school. But there's schools like that now all over the country. And so I've heard anyway. And I thought I got a text from her. It's not from her. The mountain yoga was pretty neat, but it's just preschool type age, and I don't know how kindergarten. I'm not sure how old she takes them, and she always has small classes, but she teaches them a lot of things about the outdoors. And I told her yesterday she's got a video of them, some of the kids sitting in the dirt or hunkered in the dirt, drawing with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, I said, you and I had, well, she didn't know you, but I said, we've discussed that lately. And I said, I think that's a lost art. So I'm really glad to see you're trying to teach kids how to hunker and draw in the dirt, because that could be an important life skill that people
diplomatic. It's the most important diplomatic tool there is.
Okay, the squirrel I like the most is the one when we weren't talking about squirrels. Well, those are the ones that really set the standard, Tina. I'll admit. No, but Carol, you're a early learning type educator. You should check that out too. I mean, it's not that it's something you can do, but I would love to get your opinion on teaching kids that way. They do a lot of neat things, and
are they doing like Project Wild stuff? And
that's a established program, isn't it?
yeah, but I mean, they teach it all over the country.
Yeah, I know. I've heard of it. I'm just making sure that was what it was. I don't know if she's with their curriculum or on that, uses that or incorporates that or not for sure. Some of this she's on her own, but I know she started out as an educator here and teacher, went to school. Brenda knew her when she was finishing up her degrees. I know she's got a master's in that stuff. She might have a PhD in it, actually. But that's totally matter. But one of the things they did early on up there was they sent a bunch of people to Italy, and they learned a system they use over there called the Reggio system, and it's kind of different for young kids. They do a lot of stuff as a group, as a family kind of setting, and for example, the way they eat dinner, they brought back the idea of all of them sitting at a table or two and sharing a meal, basically. I always thought that was just a simple way to kind of bring that stuff in. But anyway, it was a way of teaching. And I think this kind of evolved from some of that. But there are other places around the country doing similar schools and outdoor learning and stuff. And they go out when she gets a kid or takes a kid into her school, like when their list of things you have to buy for school that year, rubber boots and raincoats are on there, and they go out a lot. Rain suits, I guess I should say. They go out rain or shine, warm or cold, unless it's dangerously so. And they stomp mud puddles. They learn what's living in those mud puddles. And along with learning how to read, write, and do normal school things, but they do it in a different environment. And
so this is actually like an academy that these kids are enrolled in, that they get their teaching. They're kind of like a oversized homeschool kind of a program or something.
Yeah, but then they go on into school. I mean, they're only there for early years, like kindergarten. I don't know if she goes beyond that or not now.
No.
So once they go through her stuff, it's preschool and kindergarten and maybe first grade. I'm not sure if she does that age, but
and then they go to whatever public school or whatever.
Yeah, but they have a different kind of head start, if you will. They're and they're probably really disappointed when they get to school and figure out they can't go bird watching in the middle of the day like they could with Miss Angie. Right. because she's got them all with binoculars, and they'll. And it's really cool to watch some of her videos because you can hear the kids describing birds, and suddenly realizing there's one behind that bunch of leaves over there, and they're talking about it moving and habits and things it eats and that sort of stuff. It's pretty cool. Well, to me and you, some people probably would find that useless, but I think it's far from useless. I think those skills help people learn other skills if they can do some of those things or understand some of those things a little better. So it's pretty neat. They plant vegetation. They do little mini reclamation kind of thing projects. They've got a mountain they've adopted there, or what they call their mountain. I don't know exactly what mountain that is. I don't think it's actually Kennesaw Mountain, but it might be. But anyway, I don't know if that's property she owns or if it's like state property, but they've sort of adopted it. So they actually learn how to pick up trash and put up signs about litter and recycling, and they do a lot of neat stuff. The kids seem to really get a lot out of it, and I just think it's a neat idea. I mean, we took kids out of that and put them strictly in classes, and maybe some kids do better that way, but this allows them a lot of flexibility at an age where they're learning a lot of stuff, and it just depends on what you feed them, because most of them will take in whatever you feed them at that age. I don't mean food, I mean ideas and things. So you can get them started off on a different track, a little bit more open, I think. But anyway, the Carol, if you're at least bit interested, I'll send you a link for that, because it is a neat little school. I don't feel how much bigger she'll get. She's been doing this now she's had her own school now for several years. She worked in different schools and did similar programs, but now she went out on her own and opened and started her own certified accredited school. So pretty cool. And her kids kind of grew up that way. They've all been bird watching since they've been bird watching with her. And I actually remember when she started, she wasn't a bird watcher historically, but she got into it and really got into it. And that's how I discovered this particular brand of binocular was through her. Oh, there they are. And really good binoculars for a good price, and less expensive than, say, a set of Swarovskis, you know what I'm talking about, or loopholes, or
Zeiss.
Zeiss is the word I'm looking for. Yes,
Swarovskis and Zeiss.
Yeah, I mean those are so nice. I won't even look through most of those glasses, because if I can't afford them, I don't need to look through them. I like them too much. And I did look. A friend of mine used to have a pair of loopholes, and yes, this can be a squirrel. I don't care. 7, and they were really. I didn't like how they focused, because they had a weird focus system. They were individual focused. You had to actually focus both sides individually, not adjust them, but actually. Danny chewed up her binoculars. Oh. But you had to actually focus both sides together at the same time. I thought that was a little of a pain, but boy, were they sharp and clear and bright. They gathered so much light. It was amazing. I mean, these are really good too, but those were pretty special. But anyway, that's about to get up. My professor at UT had a really nice pair of Swarovskis, and I just told him he was going to let me look through them one time. I just said, no, that's okay. I'll pass. Didn't somebody in school have a burger? I'm trying to think where, if it's New Mexico or somewhere else, where he had a really nice pair of binoculars and did a lot of bird watching. Or am I getting that mixed up with somebody else?
Well, Ray from Canada would have had the best of the
Maybe
best.
it was. Maybe that's who it was.
He was pretty pushing psychotic on.
Yeah, that might have been him.
Yeah. he was something. Love birds.
That's got to be where I knew that from. I mean,
I don't know if that's a specific instance, but he would have.
it's almost got to been somebody
I'm
that
sure he had Swarovskis or Zeiss
yeah.
glass.
They're. I mean, that's where the good glass is hard to beat, but it's also hard to buy. Somebody used to tell me that they'd bought some Russian binoculars for bird watching years ago when some of their military stuff hit the surplus market after I guess they kind of things started breaking apart over there, and they actually they had some pretty good binoculars and glassware over there and that kind of thing, and they had bought some really good binoculars for a real cheap price that came out of somewhere in the Soviet bloc, but I don't remember what they were called, what brand or what name was on them. I never did actually see a pair of them, but I knew a guy that was bragging on them because he thought they were really good and tried them out.
Well, my boys bought me a pair of Maven binoculars when I retired.
Oh, did they?
Sure beats a gold watch, and they're
You can
good.
do a lot more with it than you can a gold watch.
Yeah, and they're good glass. They're really nice.
Mavens, M-A-V,
Maven. Yeah,
M-A-V.
yeah. It's a company that's here in Wyoming, and
Oh, really?
Maven, like Raven with an M.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them. I'll have to look at those.
I think they're
Are they made here or brought in, or because I think these
they're made in Lander, as I recall.
really that's cool.
They're domestic.
Yeah, these guys are from here, but they went overseas and had the binoculars spec. I don't know if they're Japan or if they're Japanese glasses. They're probably
Pretty good.
yeah. Because I've looked through a lot of Nikon lenses that are really nice, and glasses. But I'm pleased with these, though. I'll have to admit I've really liked them. They're for the money. They're probably the best I've ever had. So, and I've had a couple of pair of them now. I got a pair. I've actually got a pair here somewhere in a box that I cannot find.
Uh-oh.
The one of the little eyepieces got loose, and I was going to send them back to get it replaced or fixed, and it wasn't locking in. It wasn't setting right or something. And I put them in a box to mail them, and didn't get them mailed, and now we can't find them. So I don't know what's happened to them. I don't think they got thrown away. I know I didn't. I don't think my wife did, but we can't seem to locate them. They'll pop up one day. I'll have two nice pair. What is your wife up to? No good? You're looking at something, so there must be something. Yeah, it looked like you were watching somebody.
No, I just keep seeing stuff out the windows flash by and makes me look up.
No, yeah, like rabbits, squirrels.
In case the black feet are coming through the door or something like
that. Do you smell anything? That's
I've never had that ability, so.
It's 12:15. It's probably time to shut this shop down. We've started chasing squirrels now, but we wanted to talk a little bit about Sabertooth Cats. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
So Carol said she wanted that program. So if you didn't she wanted it sent.
Oh, I can put a link in the chat. Give me just a moment there's a couple of different sites to look at her stuff. Here is the here's one. This is her .com website. I don't know if I've actually been on that part, but I do also have her. She posts a lot on Facebook, but you'll probably be able to see all that once you look at that. But here's also her Instagram site. There's a lot of little videos. That didn't come out right. That's the same thing. What did I do? Kennesaw Mountain. Well, I guess what have I done here? Here we go. Okay, this should be her. That should be her Instagram site. So, yeah, if you're interested, take a look at it. Even if you're not, I think you'd find it kind of interesting because it's just it's a neat way to teach kids. I mean, it's getting them out from behind the desk, out of the classroom for a little bit, and letting them do some other stuff in the wild or kind of natural. But they do learn. I mean, it's they certainly do. I mean, let me put one more in here also.
I don't know. Is John still in there?
I don't know. He hasn't left that I know of. What is?
Well, I was just going to tell him my wife's outside working in the yard in shorts in March in Wyoming at 7,000 feet. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I'm okay with it because we're sick of winter, but.
Well, how warm did you say it was?
It's almost 70 degrees outside.
Well, that's plenty warm enough. And here's the page. Here's the link to this artist and author book I was using. Ollie Oxen Free.
I'm sure John has seen Wyoming in March when
I'm sure he has.
When it was not 70 degrees.
He was telling me one day something about having to be up on the working in the silo when it was really cold.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of education, I can't spell. What did let's see? Education. Wasn't that what the old man in Two Little Savages, didn't he say education?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Education.
Education.
It was important.
Yep. But there's the link to this guy's. No, that's not right either.
You put in a link to Mauricio Antone.
Well, I tried to, but that's not it. Take that out. That's
that you put in a preschool deal.
I put in the preschool deal. How does that happen? I clicked on that. Yeah, that is strange. That came back as her website for some reason. I must have hit paste instead of copy. All right, let's see if this one works.
You probably overwrote Mauricio's website.
Oh, I hope not. I hope I didn't do that.
That would be a bad deal.
That would be a bad deal. Tina was asking you something there.
Yeah, definitely. It might be 20 below tomorrow.
I got it. I think I got it that time. Somebody check the link, make sure it works. But I think I got it. That's the guy that did this book.
Yeah. That's his link.
And he's got other books, and there's a lot more information about him. He works a lot with. Mark, you were telling me that he's not actually a paleontologist or
No, he's a paleo artist, and he works with paleontologists every day,
which is probably what makes him.
And he's studying museum collections and taking measurements, and he understands better than anybody I've ever seen. He understands, the anatomy of the critter and what part works, what part, and kind of all of his recreations are based in data and science, not in, well, I think this thing probably looked like this. I mean, even the colors that he paints these animals is based in some kind of, something that makes sense, at least in today's world, how cats are colored or whatever, based on the habitats they live in.
Right. And in some cases, I don't know about these cats, but I mean, there are cases now where they're finding, fossilized skin on some of these mammals in the right parts of the world, maybe where they were frozen or freeze dried, and they've been able to actually figure out colorations on some things. Dinosaurs, even, they finally figured out they all weren't great big gray things or green things or brown things.
Where you been?
Dogs.
My dog came in panting. She's been out running somewhere. Maybe Mama took him for a walk.
Vishla?
Yeah.
She wet? Did she go toward the river?
No, she ain't wet, but she's panting. Anyway.
You want to say hi before we go? You want to say hi to Carol before we go? Huh? Come here. Let me get my Smilodon up. Let me go with that pillow. Wait. Now, say hi. No. Say hi to Carol. Say it was nap time, and I don't like to get up when I'm in the middle of a nap now. That's just not right. You want to get down? You hear the dogs? You hear Mark's dogs?
No, not anymore.
All right, hop down.
But I'm going to have to jet.
Well, I was getting ready to sign off
anyway. Grandbabies pulling into the driveway, so.
All right, well, go ride your horses and have fun with that kind of thing today and the grandchildrens.
Yeah, we're going to go. We're going to go make a couple mares tired, so.
Okay. Well, have fun. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here.
Okay. See you, everybody.
Talk to you in a day or two or something.
Thanks for listening to us ramble.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
I'm out, brother.
All right, bye. Tell I said hey. Hug your wife for me. See ya. All right, guys. I really appreciate you being here today. Thanks for Mark coming in. He always makes the squirrel chasing a lot more interesting, I'm sure, for everybody. And I'm going to sign off and maybe see who else is on live today. And I don't know, is anybody live from California? I think I saw something late last night where Jeff may have been, maybe Jeff and Garrett were on. Does anybody know if they were on last night? I think I saw somebody. Jeff is on? Okay. I wasn't sure when he was coming back to Florida or going back to Florida. See you, Carol. Thanks for coming in. Always appreciate it. Love everybody for being here, and I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys later, hopefully next week. Oh, well, I'll be older by then. My birthday's this Monday, so hopefully I'll still be able to remember where everybody's at and who everybody is, once I cross that crucial age point. All right, guys. Again, like I said, thank you. I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for putting up with our squirrel chasing. Tina, thank you for keeping count. Carol, I hope you enjoy those links and check it. Let me know what you think about that, Carol, from a teacher's perspective. And you probably have to watch some of her videos to really get that. But well, thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. And it'll probably be pretty happy. I've got my PET scan scheduled now for the 4th of April. So hopefully that won't be a big April Fool's thing and I can get that over with and it'll be okay. And they won't find anything new and everything will be good again and I won't have to worry about that. So, like I said before, I think, I believe there's nothing wrong or nothing for them to find. But then, I'm sitting here thinking I've thought that before. So who knows? But I'll make it through one way or the other. I know I got plenty of friends to talk about it. So, which is something else I forgot to bring up. I'm going to be trying to post something about it soon, but I'm thinking about doing some nighttime shows. I'm looking at Thursday nights right now, probably 9 o'clock or so. if anybody's available. I'm not 100% sure yet what we're going to exactly the format, but I'm working on some ideas, and I hope to start that either next week, this coming week, or the week after. So if I get off my lazy tail and get some things set up for it, I'm going to try to do that. And hopefully I'll see some of you guys around there. And not sure what all that'll bring yet. I've been trying to do something like this in the evenings for a while. And it's just been tough with everything going on. So we will see. And I will see all of you hopefully next week. So if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, we'll be back here again next Saturday. Tennessee Bear and maybe his friend Mark and all my other friends, Don, Tina, Carol, John, Dave, Francisco, Mike. See you guys. Thanks for coming.